now. So that's the official bit done. So now welcome. So not it isn't going to be a big video now. So perhaps more opportunity for us to talk as we go on and ask questions. I have a PowerPoint to show, which will present some of the ideas. This time we're talking about conservation, a bit small part of the big picture to think how this all fits together, and then a bit of things that you can do and who can help you really. So I was just thinking it would be really good if we could share screen. If I can go before we share screen, if I can just go around just to remind ourselves, as you heard the last few weeks, who are you and which school? That would be quite good. If you're secondary school, or if you have something else to add, then welcome. I'm going to pick on Sean first of all, because he's on the top row. Do you mind, Sean, if you can unmute and just introduce yourself? I am a new teacher since September, teaching in Ysgol Llanllechid. Very good, you're just down the road from us then. Great, so welcome to us. Ellie, who is next on my screen.
Hello, I'm Helly. I'm working with Bullock Gwydr, a social enterprise based in Penrith, and we're looking at setting up social prescribing using the forest as a resource.
Very good.
Remind me how I pronounce your name.
Anya.
Anya, yeah, Anya.
On your bike. I'm Anya, and I work as a teaching assistant in Ysgol Portobello here in Conway, and I work in the reception class. So we've got a staff member trained in forest school at the moment, and we're hoping to have another one. That might be me, maybe. So, but I find the whole course very interesting. So I know I'm not a teacher like all of the others, but maybe one day I will be. But, yeah.
Brilliant.
So Diolch.
Thank you, Anya. Paul. Ydych chi yna, Paul?
Paul di'r cyfieithydd, no.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, dwi'n gweld chi rwan, sorry. Na, so, da ni'n angen Paul I cyflwyno. Andrea.
Hello, dwi'n athrawes.
I am a teacher of physical education and health in different Conway Secondary School, and the curriculum is changing, and this I hope will fit in with that too. Thank you. Thank you. I don't need English recording, so I'll go on to Gareth. Are you there, Gareth? Hello, I'm Gareth David, the head of Ysgol Llangrannog in Llanrwst. Open air teaching is one of the things that that's part of the school's vision to try to make the most of teaching in the open area and so on. Thank you very much. Interesting. And I have Jason next. Is Jason there? I can't hear you. I know you've just unmuted the microphone. Do you hear me now? Yes, thank you. Yes. Head of the PE department, Ysgol Dyffryn Conwy, and also health and welfare, and also planning for the new curriculum. Great. Thank you very much. RJ. I can't see that you're on mute, but I can't hear you. Can you speak? They don't have access to microphone. Oh. So I don't know. Can we turn them? No, there's no microphone. microphone isn't an option. Okay, so we'll go on to Arfon. Yes, I'm Arfon. I work in Ysgol Bro Gwydr for 17 years now. I think that I've been in your school, Anita, if I remember rightly. Ysgol David Hughes. Yes, yes. We think we were in the same year, weren't we? I think. That's why I could see a larger picture of you. There we are. I'll turn the camera on now. So I had Welsh lessons in the same class as you. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's such a long time ago. Yes. You would do more with Estin. So we can all go outside now. Yes, it is a bit. So do you want to add something else apart from that you were in school with me? I am the PE coordinator, Ysgol Bro Dyfir, though we do open air. So that's why we've gone for this in a way, because they stopped the open air hour some years ago, and then that's why. Well, that's quite interesting, because we're trying to push that, and then it came to an end, didn't it? Great. So did you find that it worked? I thought it was great. We did it anyway, but it was great. We could take the children to, it was fantastic what they did. Yes. So we can still do it. It's just not compulsory. Exactly. So one of the things that we've been thinking about, different ways of awarding, but we decided to try to push the John Muir at the moment because it's just so flexible, really, and of course different levels. So yes, interesting. Great. I'll just give an opportunity to Branwen to say something. She's the only one who hasn't opportunity. Branwen, are you there? No. Branwen is in Dyffryn Conwy Secondary School. Maths, I think.
Internet's awful today, sorry. Okay. So, yeah, that's me.
So, thanks, Branwen. If you want to add more in the chat, there'll be an opportunity later. So, let's go to the PowerPoint if I can get it up. I think I need to do this. Can you see this and still hear me? Yes. So Becca's shaking her, is nodding her head. So here we are. The screen. I called this Conservation Ideas Possibilities for Practical Activities Suitable for Pupils. A picture of mushroom still existed just before Christmas, the 8th, and so we've done that bit. So up to now, we have been talking about the John Muir Award, Discover, Explore. If something has been useful for you, please put it in the chat just for us to know and to know the support of what is working. And perhaps I can build on that if it's possible for me to see the chat. I don't see it. Do you see it, Becca? Yes, I can see the chat, so I can read things out if things arise. So we are now on conservation this time and then sharing next time. So just thinking about conservation, I'm not sure how much conservation work you have done, what tasks come to mind when we mention conservation? I'll just give you a minute to think what this could encompass. Just, to put it in the chat if things come into your mind. And Becca, perhaps just shout them out as they come in. And so I'll be quiet for a moment so that you have a chance to think.
Ma Andrea and Dave.
Andrea says, looking after something and living with environment. So in the John Muir context, conservation deals with nature. There's also conservation regarding old monuments and so on. And John Muir focuses on land and things. Any other comments? What sort of tasks would you do? What sort of tasks could exist? I was doing habitats. Yes. Creating habitats.
Managing invasive species.
Managing. Ellie says, yes. Very good, good examples. Arvon says, collecting litter, picking plastics on beaches. Cool. So, conservation can be all of these, creating habitats, protecting habitats, and it can be in a variety of things in the context of the kinetic, the top of the mountain, or the bottom, the woods, and streams, and various things, also things on the school grounds. So we talk about different things, different directions you can take it, considering what you want to get out of the work that you're doing in terms of John Muir, and also the curriculum, what you want to get out of it in terms of skills. So why do we do conservation work with pupils? Do you have any ideas? Can you come up with 3 reasons to do conservation?
Ma Onia'n deud to encourage respect and care for natural environment. Ma Sean wedi deud
Sean says encourage them to be conscientious citizens, and Sean says protect it. Look, like Helly says understanding more about the natural environment. Okay, great answers. I came up with these, perhaps some of the same ideas that you've mentioned. So protecting the environment, we talked about environmental things, understanding more about the environment, respecting the environment, perhaps subject learning, learning practical skills, citizenship, and of course, health and well-being. So, and a number of different reasons why we do it, and how we can structure what we choose to do. So if you have volunteered before to do conservation work, has anyone done it? Just put your hand up if you've done it. So just thinking, well, what did you get out of that experience? So what sort of work that you did? And I don't know, perhaps you don't know what Becca has done, but it'd be interesting to know what people have done, what they think they got out of it.
Os o'n i'n deud
If I said from my point of view, I learnt by doing conservation work. I volunteered with the Snowdonia Society, and I got a bit more respect for the hard work that people have to do behind these the incidents, and just feeling that I've been there, I've done that work, and I felt personally connected to that area. Thank you. Has anybody else has put anything up? So I was going to say a bit of my background in terms of I've done work with volunteers. So after graduating, I worked as a volunteer with BTCV. So I run sessions with dry stone walling, that sort of thing. So that gave a structure in place so that you see nature, and a lot of things with planting hedges to create habitats. I had a period, 3 years, of working for BTCV, and I ran community projects, and some of them worked with schools, doing work on the school grounds to create places and trying to encourage people to keep fit, and through a scheme they had at the time, the Peen Gym. And also that was when I started learning more about the concept of health, mental health, through gardening projects and being outside in the open air and countryside, and also give something back to the community, and making contribution helps you feel that you're of value of what you're doing. A few years later, I worked as a education office with Moeloki in Tregarth, and then I was bring practical activities with input from local children, what they wanted, and that's where I am with, I planned a wooden bridge over this stream so you can go into the habitat. So we had these volunteers building the bridge, and I remember using drill bits, huge ones, to get through. This was really interesting. We had people who had no confidence. They took part in this, and they felt so good that they'd succeeded to building this bridge, and a bridge that they planned and built themselves. There we are. So I had different experiences from volunteering myself. I've also done things running volunteering sessions. So community development and conservation, I'm going to talk a bit about this and pull them together in the context of the new curriculum. So here we are, the new curriculum, around the purpose of curriculum is to develop ambitious, capable learners to learn throughout their lives, enterprising, creative contribution, ready to play a full part in life and work. And ethical, informed citizens of Wales and the world, healthy, confident individuals ready to lead fulfilling lives as valued members of society. So there you see things that are talking about children taking part in society and being able to offer something to society. Now, through these elements, you can really hit a lot of these things that you need to do. I came across this report from university running a project, Active Citizens, and contributing to the city. And I think what's interesting here. It's talking about the number, the young people. I think it's important for you because you need, because you can learn with the young people and the children. And this is something we all need to accept. We all have answers, but we need to problem solving skills and working as a team. And Chawla, who wrote this report, he came up with these rules, how to set about it. And I thought, from my perspective, with the challenge of doing community development work, to try to make sure that people feel that they are valued, that you listen to them. And in the report, if you want to take it out of the paper, it talks about listen, 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 and you must listen to voices, need to network to get the support in order to achieve things, what people want to achieve. And don't just listen, you need to act, to do something. And also, whatever you do, and you must talk.
Anita, mae sŵn chdi'n really
Your sound is very spotty. Is that better? Not much. We don't see any reason why it's happening. That's better now. I'll try that. So I'm going to do what people call social theory. So to try to give a framework to you to think about how to proceed. Is that better or is it still bad? So I have this diagram which is a bit challenging. It just explains to you what's going on. And the concept is of self-efficacy. What this is, how do you believe that you're going to succeed in doing things? You have confidence in yourself to be able to achieve something. So thinking about this in the context of doing something practical on school grounds or in the community, you have a sort of concept. If you're going to succeed, you need to start with this in the yellow box. If you have a belief, strong belief that you can succeed, then you have high motivation and you will set challenging goals. If you have a low feeling of your self-efficacy, not so much confidence that you can do things, you will set, you'll have low motivation and you'll set easy targets. So then I thought, well, in planning, we need to think what we can achieve if what we do. And then in this box, we're talking about how much effort is required, whatever the challenge is. So there can be a challenge of planting a hedge, whatever the context. If you make it really easy, then your resilience will be low. So when you come across problems in future, you won't have the resilience to think, oh, well, I will persist and succeed. If something needs effort, then there's more chance that your resilience will increase because you have struggled, you've had to struggle. And if you've succeeded, then your resilience will go up in the future. And in the future, you will set challenging targets for yourself. So we have a sort of positive feedback. So if you choose an appropriate challenge, a bit of challenge to it, So it's not totally easy. It needs a bit of effort, and you succeed, then you learn that you have good resilience. This is going to be positive in terms of your self-efficacy, particularly if you succeed. If you fail, there's a chance that your self-efficacy will go down and your motivation will go down and perhaps your resilience. But what this boy, Chala, said, if you discuss this and have chatting, that's the box at the top, then you can talk about the reasons why you didn't succeed. And perhaps you will have succeeded with some things, but not with others. And you can use this as a way of learning. And in a way, we come back to this concept of self-efficacy, and this becomes more realistic. So even if you fail with something, if you can pull it together and talk about it, see what's going on, you can still say, well, I've learned this, I've learned the other, and it didn't turn out what I wanted, but you're still good with for your self-efficacy. So why am I talking about this in relation to conservation? Well, if we have high self-efficacy in terms of we can have an impact on the world, the environment, society, community, then we are going to turn into active citizens. If we don't have high self-efficacy, we say, oh, I can't do anything about this, what's the point? And we are going to be citizens who don't take part. But what we want is a curriculum to make this happen. So we going around putting a bit of flesh on the bones, then to show by doing tasks, practical tasks, we can have an impact on self-efficacy of your pupils so that they achieve, become effective citizens. So we want them to be ready to learn and challenge to be ambitious, that they can solve problems, be creative citizens, confident to live fulfilling lives as valued members of society. So I think in a way, this part of John Muir is the most important part. And in the sharing part, you can discuss how important things and how much you have succeeded. So thinking, well, getting all the children to know what's happening, develop, taking responsibility. So we need to be realistic in terms of how much you can do of this. So I've put the spectrum. You have one end, you have pupils leading what you've done. The other end, you have adult-led.
Anita, mae'r sŵn di mynd eto.
Anita, the sound has gone again. If you're at this end, it's better now. So if the adult is leaning, you can place your learning. You have find learning outcomes. If the pupils are leading, perhaps it'll go perhaps different directions, but more opportunities for different things to come in and give more opportunities to develop the problem-solving side, working as a team. And also, if you do things like motivation, ownership, and resilience, well, you think about these. Well, on this spectrum, where would these sit? Where the children would have more motivation, children, secondary pupils, perhaps with ownership. So I'll just throw out for you to think in your context. Just give them time to think. Where do you want to be on this spectrum? in terms of what you want to get out of the experience. And moving on, thinking we've done all these things, on think more where we're going to do it and with whom. So choice of school grounds or another site. If you choose another site, perhaps there'll be more space to do things like planting trees, perhaps things you need, you can get another organization to help. I'll talk about later on, but you need to remember that you need the landowner's permission, and perhaps if you're working with an organization, but also it's an opportunity for pupils to go somewhere else. In terms of doing things on school grounds, you need to plan. This needs to work within what's going to work within school grounds. And if you do it on school grounds, it's there as a resource for you later. On the other hand, you need to consult everybody who works in the school, people who look after the area. It's going to affect what they do. And another positive then is if you're creating a habitat, you can watch it develop. And this is a learning opportunity for the children. And you can use it for monitoring and so on. I'm going to talk about a few examples that are perhaps more tangible. And thanks to Anna Williams and Ben Stammers from the North Wales Wildlife Trust, they have shared some of their materials and thinking about all the networking. And certainly they're one of the organizations that you can considering working with, and they can help you. And one of the things that Anna does online is available on YouTube, but I've used what they've done in a different context. So these are Anna's slides of a discussion that she led, and I think it's quite nice. We're talking about this little boy and talking about motivation. So after this day, he decided that he wanted to do it at home, and so really he took ownership over the idea of, and he's working now as a woodworker.
Anita, sorry, mae'r sŵn di mynd eto.
Anita, sorry, the sound's gone again. Why is it going? I'm not sure. Is your laptop clear? Is the computer clear? There's nothing pressing on it. No, you sound a long way off.
Na, mae o dal yn...
No, it's still, you're still a long way away. We can't see you close at all.
No?
O, ti'n fatha mynd a dod?
It comes and goes. I don't know if it's happening for everybody else. Is it just me?
Ti dal yn bell i ffwrdd.
You're still a long way off. Is that? Oh, that's good. That's better. Yes, we'll try that. So, in the center, I don't know, Anita, this activity. No, you're coming and going. And just go and fetch Rob.
Mae Rob ar y ffordd.
Rob is on the way.
tydi fydd o'n fine rwan am munud.
Wel,
Probably fine when he gets here.
Dwi'm yn siŵr iawn. Hi
I'm not
Rob.
sure. Hello, Rob.
Ydy yma?
Is he here?
Jyst meddwl bach mwy am cymhelliad yn fanna. Ac oedd gen yr hogyn, wel y ddau hogyn, chi'n clywed fan?
Ti'n dal yn bell I ffwrdd de?
You're still a long way away.
Oedd y ddau hogyn yna'n dangos bod gen nhw cymhelliad mewnol. So, oedd gen nhw'r brwydr gyntran.
Rob, wyt ti
Ti eisiau fi
cyrraedd?
fynd allan o ddod yn ôl I
Do you want me
mewn?
to go out and come back in, do you think?
Ti eisiau fi wneud hynna ta?
Do you want me to do that then? Yes, if you don't mind.
Di hynna'n well?
Is that better?
Dach chi'n clywed fi rwan?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yy,
A lot better.
Cawn ni weld os ma'n parhau.
I don't know if it'll continue. Thank you.
Cawn ni weld os ma'n
We'll see if it continues to be good.
Na.
No.
Lle dwi'n neud hwnna?
The option o dan slideshow.
You have an option under slideshow. Where's that gone? I don't see that. There you are. From current slide.
O'n i'n gwybod bod o'n fanna rwla.
I knew it was there somewhere.
Ie,
So-
ie, jyst mynd I sôn bach mwy am
So I was just talking about a bit more about motivation and the example that Anna had
cymhelliad
with
mewnol.
internal motivation, that is intrinsic motivation. So if you can encourage that, so we can create experience that are fun,
Bo' nhw'n cael teimlo bod
that
nhw'n
they get a
gwbod
feeling that they succeed,
bwysig o
they're more likely to want to do it again and set challenges to each other. And so
Just kind of pethau cyffredinol
they're
yn
just
helpu chi meddwl
common things to help you think.
trwy bethau. So, dan ni yn kind of yn meddwl mae'r ffwrdd
So we
o
are
dan ni'n neud
thinking
project
about
kind of mawr,
when we are thinking we're going to do big things, big enough, have enough input from the chance. So just to summarize this, if we do an activity that's the long game and take advantage of that, the advantages to the children, inclusion, more learning, empowerment of the children, they need to accept the fact that it takes time. So we need to pull this into a work plan. And somebody who's done community work, I know that it can be quite difficult to please everybody. You're not going to get it right every time, but keep at it, do your best. And coming back to collaboration, get input from other people. Also, you can frame how much you do that and then quick hits. It can be extremely positive because you get visible results quickly. So doing something small and you see the difference, it can be really good for building confidence and interest and so on. And then you can go back to the long game, perhaps out, and then you can focus on one particular element of the curriculum, then go on with it. But you can miss out on learning opportunities. The children don't really feel that they have ownership of this. So thank you, Dan. We have an example here of Ysgol Dyffryn Ogwen, I think, and they are putting a swallow box up, and they're great. They fly really high and they make squeaks, so you hear them in the summer squeaking, and they nest in Wales, and they can fly to France, Germany, and so on if the weather is bad, and they can leave chickens in the nest. So it's tempting to give them boxes. I don't know the details, but it's great that they've created a habitat, in fact, in the school for birds and given opportunity for children to learn about habitat, food, climate, a good set of things. And if it's going to be a big project with a lot of input, but of course, just start, it fires their interest. There's an example from Anna here. Children doing more. The children here are marking out where they're going to put the beds. What's really good in the front, the school girl who's really done a good job and arranging it, and you really set to it and had a wonderful day. So opportunity, and there's a responsibility there and higher skills. So thinking here, we have slides showing if you create habitats on the school grounds, you then have a resource that you can use in the future. So the more you can create on school grounds, the more you have as a resource for the future. And you can do more conservation work by recording the nature that is there. So we get a few examples here of habitats you can create. So house trees, hedges, fruit trees, flowering plants, ponds. You can grow vegetables and make bird, bat, hedgehogs, boxes, bug hotels, and then bug hotels, meadows, grass, flowers, fungi, and deadwood. These are good examples. So managing habitats, perhaps point of view doing this with others. So cutting gorse, rhododendrons, invasives. So these are species that shouldn't be here. And we have primary school children working with National Trust with cutting rhododendron poticum, and they're enjoying it. Lots of examples. If you look at some of the things that Anna has done online, you can get more of these. In terms of health and well-being, what they get out of this, they have a connection with nature. They feel good because they've completed something. And I think this is one of the things that I really get out, that they have done something practical. Finish a job, you can just feel really good feeling because you've worked inside and on computers and do various things, but it's not running that down, but it's really good to get a feeling that you've completed a task, and this helps your mental health. It's important for people who take part in this sort of activities. You spending time outdoors, you have been physically active, you've been working with others, and you have improved the environment. These are all good things for your health and welfare. And if we have been physical, we're enjoying ourselves, we're more likely to stick to it. And being physically active and doing something practical, it's a step forward in life. This diagram that Natural Resources Wales has put together shows these steps that are put together. So in the start, we just need to be in the environment, and we just need to start enjoying and experience it. And then we start to learn more about it, expect it more, and then become people who take responsibility for it. So this is a lesson. I've got a slide. I share this. You can see this on here. So here, just showing maths work, measuring a circle. This is how the Iron Age people made their round houses, measuring them out like this. So all sorts of skills here. So I just think with maths, I remember being in school and thinking, well, why do I do Pythagoras' theorem in maths? And I'm never going to use it again. But if you're building something and you want to make a corner, just using Pythagoras' theorem to make a 3, 4, 5 match in a corner, you use it. And making these 4 tasks, it shows children that maths exists in the world. We use it all the time. And if you're building something, so I think someone told me when I was in year 4 or whatever doing it, I'd be delighted to use it. And perhaps for those who don't not confident in maths, to give them practical skills to help them with woodwork. I'll leave this. So here, I enjoyed as a child, I came across this poem, and I just like to think of the fact that Dad could fall into a pond. So I'll read it in English.
The sky was grey. We had nothing to do and nothing to say. We were nearing the end of a dismal day, and there seemed to be nothing beyond. Then Daddy fell into the pond, and everyone's face grew merry and bright, and Timothy danced for sheer delight. Give me the camera, quick, oh quick, he's crawling out of the duckweed click. And the gardener suddenly slapped his knee and doubled up, shaking silently. And the ducks all quacked and it sounded as if the old Drake laughed. Oh, there wasn't a thing that didn't respond when Daddy fell into the pond. I can remember, I just
tried. I thought I'll just give you this because bringing English or another language into practical things talks about health and safety, and there's so much context here with whoever these people were, with gardeners and the duckweed and these various things. So again, going back to Anna, he has gone round the problem of health and safety by using little things, so a way round problems. It's important. So I just thought of taking this as an example. Say you're getting the children to take part in doing research relating something like building a bridge or planting woods or a path. If they do research work, you can bring digital skills in. If you you then hit the digital framework doing research work, and that's appropriate planning and using computer, good practice. So it brings in project, brings so many different skills, and then you think the costs, brings maths in, brings a budget, where are you going to get this money? So you need to raise the money, and then the plants and animals. Just again, Anna, again, you see just such a beautiful garden they've made. And through learning and play, children, just wonderful. And with secondary schools too, children in their teens, they need little places to be in their more social groups in different ways. They want places to sit and hang out. So in thinking about when you're doing conservation work, think about what the needs of young people are too at playtime. So much learning can take place. So this is who will help. So think of these networks. You need a partnership. There's a pot of money, isn't there, Becca? Do you want to talk about that now? Yes, I'll hand over to you then. Yes, quickly, just quickly. This scheme is here to support teachers in the Canetha. So if you want to create an event, creating some sort of lesson in the open air, then we are here to support you, and we can do that financially or just, well, knowing people who can do things with. A lot of ways of teaching in the open air that are already there, and there's a lot of people who are working in the area who do things for nothing. So we're there just to get over the barrier. If it's a financial problem, then contact us if you want to discuss it. Thank you. But the North Wales Wildlife Trust, Ben does work locally, and they're just talking about planning hedges this week, I think. So in the middle of what they're doing, and Anna has been doing a lot of work over a number of years, doing things on school grounds. The Snowdonia Society, working with a park, they lead a lot of activities with volunteers, so they can help you to do practical work that isn't on the school grounds, in the habitats in the area. And the National Trust, they're open for you to do things on their land too. So there are officers who can help you there. The local authority, Gwynedd Council, Conwy Council and the park, they have officers who perhaps can help with appropriate tasks for pupils to do on their land. And Keep Wales Tidy, they do a lot of work and things like Himalayan balsa, litter picking, this sort of thing. They're quite good. Also, perhaps on the school grounds or in the community too. And then the other one I just talk about is learning through landscapes. Learning through landscapes. They give children in Scotland. In Scotland, they've had the curriculum for excellence, which is a curriculum that's more similar to our new curriculum than what we've been doing before, what they do in England. So they have a load of experience and resources, video clips. If you want inspiration, just go to them, and learning in the open air, play, all sorts of things. And they're part of the Partners and Pollination Project. So Ben Stammers in Ysgol and Llechyd. I don't know how the bed is now, but so this is getting insects and flowers. It's a project that came to an end, but they're examples for inspiring work on this website. So I just want to mention really about next time. So I've bombarded you with a lot of information this time. Next time we'll talk about sharing. So it'd be nice to hear a bit of your ideas and the ideas and experiences. So can I ask you this week to go out into the garden and go for a very short walk, just take interest in nature or landscape, and think about how you can share this in a creative way with us. And if you have time, do this creatively and come back next week or email me and something in advance, then do it before dinner time, the latest, or just come and be ready to say, well, I had this idea and we'll talk about this. And the other thing, just to finish, mentoring opportunity coming up for 3 teachers in the area to have some one-to-one time with me to plan and implement outdoor activities. I hope that there'll be 3 different schools. So if there's more than one of you from a school, think who would like to do this. But please email me next week if possible, or before then, so we can see who's interested. And if there are more than 3 of you coming forward, then I'll have a discussion with Becca to see how we can do this. But first time we do this mentoring, there's an opportunity for you really to think about what you want get out of this support. I think perhaps it'll be a bit of time, talk one-to-one about work plans, that I would hope to be able to come over, go for a walk, show the school, share ideas and activities, and things that you can do, or look at a lesson plan or something with you, or create some resources jointly. So over to you, really. See if you want some help, send me an email next few days, and we'll look to move on forward with that.
Yeah,
And I just want to say too, thank you for everyone who's been coming. Our intention by the end of this scheme is sort of to empower you and other teachers in the area of the Eye, what sort of support is out there in the area. And Anita is full of information, and she knows almost everyone in the world, and open air education. So use this resource. And also, if you don't get this one-to-one this year, we'll be running it every year. And we hope that teachers in the Carnarvon area will know exactly what is out there, what's available, and will know and will feel a lot stronger about things and outdoor activities. Thank you. Time has flown, and thanks. Sorry that you couldn't hear everything. If there are any questions, you're welcome to ask them, share them on the screen.
Stop sharing a bryd.
I don't know how to do stop sharing. There we are. So thank you. Any questions before we go, or comments? Or if not, I'll see you next week and look forward to seeing what you'll be willing to share with us. Any questions? No? Well, thank you for your time. I know the hour has gone, so thank you for listening, and I'll try to send the PowerPoint out. And sorry that Anya haven't said anything to you yet, but I will send them out to you. Thank you. So, bye everybody. See you next week. Thank you for your time.